Are you a woman over 40 looking for some nutrition tips? But guess what? I got some for you. Hey, ladies, what is up? Welcome back to the podcast. We Age Graceful. My name is Keli. I just sat back and thought about it. The last few episodes, I did not say my name. My name is Keli. For those of you who are new, who don't know me, what is up? How are you? I want to talk about today nourishing your body, nutrition tips for women over 40. I have recently changed some things up in my household. Just doing a little trial run, just a little trial run. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that I do have a YouTube channel. It's called I Am Kelly B, where I just discuss, again, beauty and lifestyle, beauty tips for the normal everyday woman. Nice, simple, easy makeup routines, nothing crazy, and just, lifestyle content. I just recently created two new episodes on my channel where one is called Life in My 40s and Aging Graceful Diaries. And Aging Graceful Diaries is pretty much just me aging, me as a woman, routines, skincare, all the different things. It's kind of like everything in one. And then life in my 40s is just like that. I go to work, I got kids, I got adult kids. I take care of my mom, all these different things, just this life, me being a content creator, me working a job, just those things. So if you just want to see normal stuff, hang out with your girl, get to know me because this is a audio podcast. I feel like later I used to do video, but it was kind of like a bit too much. I said, Kelly, let's swing into the audio only because it's not like if you follow me on my YouTube channel, then you know how I look, you know how I smile, you know how I giggle. So at the end of the day, you can kind of tie everything together. It's like, we one little package deal. So yeah, so go on over there, check out your girl, hang out with me when I do a couple videos, and we can kind of go out, we can get a little cocktail, come along with me. First off, let's talk about what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about balanced diet, supplements, and maintaining energy levels, y'all. We're going to get into it. We're going to keep it nice and sweet. We're going to get into it. So, first off, I recently had a hysterectomy. I can always let people know, but I don't know why. But I recently had a hysterectomy, and my energy level was so low before my hysterectomy because I was anemic. I was losing so much blood. I was dealing with fibroids, so I would not only bleed once a month, I would bleed sometimes more than once a month. So my hemoglobin was so low, my iron was so low. It affected my energy. I was always cold, everything. So now that I had that surgery done, I have rebuilt up my iron. I'm at good levels now. And I have my cold moments, but not as the way it used to be. Not the way it used to be. But I just want to get into the importance of nutrition, especially for us women over 40. As we get older, things that we face is like slower metabolism, hormonal shifts, hint, 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 menopause, and just increase for chronic diseases and stuff like that. So it's always good to have a good, healthy nutrition routine. You make sure you're eating things. And what I hear is make sure your plate is colorful. Always have some color on your plate. So let's get into a balanced diet since we're talking about colorful plates. Having a balanced diet is just like, it supports the overall health, energy levels, and disease prevention. The importance of nutrition is it helps with the diversity for physical and mental well-being. If you're not eating good and you're eating bad, before you know it, you're going to have high blood pressure, cholesterol, all the different things, and just being full transparent, I had a little scare in regards to like high blood pressure, and I didn't even know that you could be fine in other areas, but high blood pressure can trigger so many other things. If your pressure is high, it can make your cholesterol bounce up. If your cholesterol is high, it can make your high blood pressure bounce up. It's like, my God. So it's like you gotta eat good. Before where I am now, I used to eat out every Friday or Saturday, or sometimes every Friday and Saturday. That was a treat for my family and I. Like, we worked all day, well, all week. We went to school. So it was like, you know what? We still sat down and ate dinner, but it was like, now it's time where we could literally break some bread together and we can sit down and look across from each other. So we did that when we went out to the restaurant. We had a good time, talked about what happened during the week, all different things. And it was like, over time, that mess caught up with me. Man, listen, I went to the doctor and they said that my pressure was high and they want to put me on some pills. I said, no, how can I fix this? They said, watch your diet. What are you doing? I said, well, I go out with my family, eat. And just because you get like you're getting pasta, you're getting vegetables, whatever you get when you go out to eat, the way they prepare those meals, you know what I mean? Oh my God. It's nothing like a home cooked meal, where you're cooking clean. I'm not saying slather butter and all the different type of oils and stuff, but I had to cut back. I had to find a way to have a balanced diet to where it wasn't affecting my numbers. Yes, I had to figure this crap out. And in addition to that, the coffee drinking. The coffee drinking. Do y'all hear me say coffee? Y'all, I am a coffee head, but I had to cut back. Do I have my moments where I do give in and have my coffee? Absolutely. But I had to sit back and say, Keli, you cannot drink this like this because it's affecting you. I didn't even know that coffee had some type of line where it affects your cholesterol. Y'all, your girl was in shambles over here. And you look at people, they look so good on the outside, but on the inside, things is going crazy. And that's where I was. I had to fix it. Coffee, I had to minimize. Not saying I can't have, but I had to minimize. And I had to incorporate some other things in my life to make sure my numbers were where they need to be. I didn't want nothing in the red. Do you hear me? I didn't need nothing even in the yellow. We didn't need no borderline. So, balanced diet where understanding your macros and your micros. Now, I'm not big on that, but what I do understand is like what protein, healthy fats, complex carbohydrates, calcium, vitamin D, iron. I be paying attention. I'm not big on macros and micros, but I understand how they work. Like, well, I guess I am big on it, but I understand how they work. Understand your proteins, your healthy fats, your complex carbohydrates, calcium and vitamin D, and your iron, right? So what are our proteins for? Our proteins are essential for muscle maintenance. Healthy fats, benefits of healthy fats is omega-3 fatty acids, which is good for heart and brain health. I'm going to say heart and heart health. Heart and brain health. Complex carbohydrates, their role is to pretty much sustain energy and fiber. We need those, okay? We need fiber to keep that inside rolling. Calcium and vitamin D is crucial for bone health, especially for post-menopause. You got to keep them bones in order. And iron is preventing anemia and maintaining energy. And that's exactly where I was. So what are like some meal planning tips? Like having like a balanced plate. Y'all, I'm a greedy girl. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like to eat. I do. I like to eat. I like to put it away. And I recently stopped eating to where I'm full. I eat till I'm satisfied. And not eat till I'm satisfied, put it away, and knowing I'm satisfied, and then go back to it to try to finish it off. That's just overeating. It's overeating. So a visual guide for creating a balanced meal is like 50% of vegetables and fruit, 25% protein, and 25% whole grain. So, in saying all of that, I wasn't doing that. I'm doing it now. I'm really doing good about my my eating. One thing that I recently did, I want to get into that before I get into the next point. I wanted to figure out how can I have more meal proportion in addition to just some good healthy meals. I do a lot. I work a full-time job. I have a household. In addition to, I do have my brand that I work on. And I felt like cooking at the stove was a lot. It was a lot. And I love a good home cooked meal. I like to cook. But I just said, how can I eliminate some things so I can maintain my lifestyle, but yet not compromise my health? So I was going to do HelloFresh, but I said, HelloFresh, I still gotta cook. I still have to cook. So I was thinking of like all these other meal preps that I do know in my area and whatnot. I said, yeah, maybe I can do those. But my boss in my new position I just recently obtained, he was coming to work with Factor. For those of you, that's a meal. I don't want to say meal prep, but meal service. I had meal prep service. Okay, and he would come, and it would smell so good. And I remember seeing like some of the ladies that I watch on YouTube. They had sponsorships with Factor, and they said it really tastes good. I said, you know what? Are they saying it because they get in sponsorships or whatever it can be, or do it really taste good? Once my boss had it and he was bringing them to work every day, I said, I need to try it. So he gave me a free box. He gave me like a little QR code and he said, try it out. So I only paid $10 for 8 meals. The meals wound up, well, it would have cost me like $140, paid $140, $160. But I only paid $10 for the shipping. Baby. Now, very edible, very tasty. Now, I can't see myself ordering that every week, but definitely on weeks where I have a lot to do. So I ordered it for this week. We've ate all our meals. We maybe have one meal left. And the family liked it. The family said, I can definitely see us doing this on heavy weeks or weeks when I have a lot to do and I'm like the primary cook in my house. So if I have a lot to do, this could be something that I can order and I can say, hey guys, I got a heavy week. I'm going to order Factor, and what meals do you guys want? Because I mean, it's so many meals that you can pick from, and it is just, yeah, I like it. So I've been ordering Factor, and it's been some really good meals, and I really feel like the portions are, I'm giving them a whole ad right now. Factor, if you're listening, y'all better sponsor your girl. But I really enjoyed it. This week was definitely easy on me. I was able to not, when I got off work, go right to the kitchen because I work from home, go to the kitchen and start cooking. I was able to go sit outside. I was able to go for a walk. I was able to just, again, pour back into myself. So, again, look into some of the meal services. That might be, if you want to cook it, HelloFresh, I think Blue Apron is one. Factor, they make the meals and just kind of pretty much, it reminded me of a TV dinner, but it was a seasoned TV dinner. I was surprised. I was very surprised. So, yeah, and to kind of piggyback, having good portion control. So then we're getting back into my spiel here. Having good portion control, which is, important because you're not overeating, you're going to maintain your weight, and you're going to maintain your health. Healthy snacks. Let me give you guys some example. I love, like you have nuts, you have seeds, yogurt, fruit, vegetables. Those are all up my alley. Sometimes we feel like the only time we can have like a veggie tray. Well, I'm not saying everyone because somebody may do. I'm just talking about myself at this point. If it's like a cocktail party or something like that. But I had to learn how to incorporate veggie trays in my life. Not just eating vegetables on my plate, but eating them, just cold and snacking. So I went and I started buying like the little small carrots and having my little dipping sauce and my fruit and my yogurt, just to incorporate that in my day. Because I know for me, and I still do it now, I'm not gonna say like I'm perfect. Sometimes we can get caught up in wanting to eat for a snack. We be eating chips, because it's convenient. My mom eats apples every day. I think that is so good. They say an apple a day keep the doctor away. So I've started eating apples and like little cuties, and then having like the carrots and stuff like that. I love celery. So eating that on a daily basis, even if you can't do it daily, at least 2 to 3 times a week, getting that in would be so beneficial for your body. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's move on to supplements. This is where I am bad at, and that is supplements. My doctor told me, this is what she told me, and it may be right, it may be wrong, but I am going to repeat it. She said, if your levels are good, why are you taking more? You only take more if your levels are low. And I'm like, So how we might say, oh, I need vitamin D, or I need, whatever it is. Or vitamin C, I need this, I need that. If I did my blood work and everything looks good, why am I going to go get a supplement from the grocery store or Target or Walmart or your vitamin shop to go take more? And I thought about that. She was like, you're good in that area. I remember my great aunt. She passed away at 99. She did not take anything. She didn't take a multivitamin. She only took an aspirin. And back then we had Tylenol, but back then, it was like, get an aspirin, get an aspirin. She took an aspirin if her head hurt or she had an ache or a pain. And that was far few in between. And I just sit back and look at, how her body was just so strong and how we are today. I remember my aunt, she was just such a strong woman. And I just like, wow, my aunt was just, like I'm having a moment right now. She's just a strong woman. And it's like, she didn't take anything. I look at that generation. She's part of the silent generation. And I look at the boomers, pill heavy, pill heavy. Like, take a pill for this, take a pill for that. And I look at Gen X. It's like, if we don't put our foot down, we'll be in a pill situation too. Millennials, Gen Z, I don't even know what they got going on when it comes to things like that. But I do see that, I don't want to say pharmaceutical. I don't want to say pharmaceutical company or the pill industry. There's so many pills out right now that's appealing to the young community, and it's like they're taking pills younger and younger and younger. They're like, oh, take pills for gut health, probiotic, this, that, and the third. And it's like, I sit back and look, if you just eat right, you won't have to take all this stuff. And that's something that I am practicing as well. But sometimes it's easy to take that pill or to take whatever to keep things flowing, if that makes any sense. So, as they say, in some situations, diet alone may not meet the nutritional needs. And that's when my doctor had came in and said, if everything is good and you're doing right how you're eating, then you don't need to take the supplement. So again, in some situations where diet alone may not meet nutritional needs, like specific deficiencies and things like that, that's when you can go into taking supplements. I am not a healthcare provider by any means. I'm just giving you some things that I've learned along the way. And, always looking, professional help and things like that when it comes to taking supplements for yourself. Because, again, I don't take any supplements. I don't. I used to take iron before I had my hysterectomy because my iron was just so low. But then when you take iron, that triggers other things. That triggers other things like constipation because iron blocks you up. But Common supplements that women over 40 do take: calcium, vitamin D. That's good for bone health, preventing, I want to get this word right, osteoporosis, I think is how you say it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Omega 3 fatty acids, that's good for cardiovascular health and things like that, reducing inflammation. So, but you can get that in like eating salmon and things like that. Anything with like good fatty acids. Vitamin uh, vitamin B or B vitamins, that's good for metabolism and nervous system. Magnesium, good for relaxation, sleep, and muscle function. Um, I tried to take a magnesium. I felt like it wasn't doing anything. I only took it for like 3 days, so that really wasn't enough time for me to even decide if it worked or not. But yeah. But my metabolism is pretty good. My father, he gave me that. So yeah, about to have a moment here. Probiotic is good for digestive and gut health and immune support. They say it's always good to look for third-party testing and certifications on supplements to make sure that they're really good and things like that. Again, I don't take any supplements, so but if you are a woman who's into supplements, always make sure that it's really good. Doctor says it's okay. Don't just take anything just to take it. Always look into it, because you don't want to mess your body up on the inside. As we get older, it's harder for us to recover from things. Okay, so maintaining our energy level. What are we doing to maintain our energy level? We go through hormonal changes that affects our energy level. Again, eating regularly, having good meals, and focusing on our blood sugar. We have to. We don't want to. I don't want to get into too much health stuff here, but like sometimes things that we eat can spike our blood sugar. It can decrease it, all depending on where it is. Sometimes what we drink. So just being mindful of your levels and things like that. Avoiding, like I just mentioned, sugar spikes and things like that. Limiting your refined sugars and processed food. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to processed foods, I am a sucker for a sandwich, a cold sandwich, like they say cold meat, lunch meat, Jimmy John's, all those Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's is my jam. Back in the day, we used to have Subway. I think they still have a couple of Subways out, but that was my jam, my jam, my jam, my jam. But yeah, let's some lifestyle factors. I want to kind of recap all of this and tie this all together here, because we've been chatting for a while. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. But before we end off, I want to just kind of wrap up the maintaining your energy level is, having a good diet, lifestyle factors, making sure you're getting some good sleep, maintaining your stress, having some good activity. And some practical tips here is just like, making sure you're drinking enough water. Water is very important. We don't realize our body is made up of a lot of water, and we need to replenish it. Your body's going to pour out the water, if it's through sweating, we go into the bathroom, whatever the case may be. But staying hydrated is so important, and it's so important for your skin. But we're talking about nutrition right now. We're going to get into skincare. And just be mindful of your eating, making sure that you're eating things that is good for better digestion, making good, healthy eating habits. So let's recap and summarize this all up. We discussed having a balanced diet, supplements, and maintaining our energy. Sometimes what we eat can definitely affect. There was a time in my life where I would eat bread and I would fall asleep because I knew that it was messing with my blood sugar. And again, that was during my time where I got that crazy scare. My pressure was going nuts. Cholesterol was through the roof. I just didn't want to make. I didn't want to be borderline diabetic. I didn't want to be any of that. And if you look at me, you go, oh wow, you don't realize what's going on inside somebody's body, and you don't realize what you're putting in your body. When you, a prime example, let's just stack up for a minute before we tie this all up. You know how when you're on Instagram or TikTok and you see all those people eating all those foods, butter, this, that, and the third. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm healthy, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, they may be healthy for a little while, but let me tell you something, that mess catches up to you. Now, there's ways to reverse it. The same way how you got into it, you got to get yourself out. So you ate your way into it, you got to eat your way out. So you have to eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of lean meat. Don't have no sugary drinks, just straight water. Straight water. You know how I know? Because I did it. I was following all these TikTok places, all these Instagram things, going to these different food trucks, doing this, doing that, going about, and I wound up, I don't do that anymore. And if I do it, it's a treat, like every 2 months, because I know what it can do to your body. So, ladies, be mindful of what you eat. Make sure your plate is colorful. Get your vegetables in. I'm not saying you can't indulge and have snacks every now and then, but as we get older, our body cannot handle it. We have to be very mindful and we have to treat our body really, really good so we can be here for, a good while. So if you enjoyed, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for listening. I truly, truly appreciate you. And I will catch you in the next episode.